All right, so we're diving into something juicy today. It's about this Indonesian celeb couple, Pinkan Mambo and Arya Khan.
Oh, yeah, I saw this article on Insert Live.
Exactly. And, well, the thing is, it's wild. Like, just a month ago, they were calling it quits,
Yeah.
saying they were separating.
And then now.
They're back together. And not just back together, they actually remarried.
Whoa, hold on. So they went from split to remarried in like, what, a month?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a whirlwind.
Totally.
You know what strikes me about this whole thing? It's not just like a quiet get back together. They're doing all of this super publicly.
Right.
Which I think says something about celebrity culture over there in Indonesia. Remember that whole thing with Raffi Ahmad and Nagita Slavina?
A few years back.
Yeah, their fights and making up. The whole country was glued to it.
It's like they can't get enough of this kind of drama.
It's like a real-life soap opera for everyone.
Exactly. And with Pinkan and Arya, it wasn't like they were hinting at getting back together or anything. In the Insert Live article, Pinkan's quoted as saying there were fatal issues.
Fatal, huh?
Yeah, she makes it seem like it was over for good. And then boom, a total 180.
What'd she say?
She's like, tapi kalau sudah Tuhan yang membalik-balikan perasaan kita yang mana tahu.
Okay, so for those of us who don't speak Indonesian.
Basically, she's saying, like, if God's the one messing with their feelings, then who knows what can happen.
I see. So she's bringing in the faith aspect. It's interesting because that quote really highlights how religion and marriage are so connected in Indonesia.
You're right. It's not just about them as a couple.
She's making it seem almost like destiny by saying God's involved.
Yeah, it adds a whole other layer to this. Oh, and the way they got back together, super rom-com worthy. Apparently, Arya just messaged Pinkan asking her to not block him on social media.
Seriously?
Yeah. Talk about sliding into the DMs with a purpose.
That's a bold move. I mean, it sounds like something out of a movie.
Right.
But it makes you wonder, is this like truly a change of heart or is it all for show?
Good point.
The article says Arya's like really committed to improving himself, working on his ego and jealousy issues.
Yeah, but is that for real or just a PR stunt to get people back on his side? Pinkan's quoted as saying, "Yang penting sati matalala." What's important is that it's legitimate in the eyes of God. Sounds pretty serious, Ida.
Yeah, I mean, she's emphasizing that their remarriage is legit, religiously speaking. Because in Indonesia, marriage is a huge deal. It's sacred, not just some legal agreement.
So by bringing God into it, she's kind of making it untouchable. Like, who can argue with God's will?
Exactly. It's a smart move.
Oh, and remember, they had a prenup before the first marriage.
Oh, yeah, that caused a stir.
Makes you wonder why jump back in so fast, knowing there were doubts from the beginning.
Yeah, and, Indonesian society really values marriage.
So they're under a microscope now. Everyone's going to be watching to see if they make it work this time.
The pressure's on. It's a head-scratcher, isn't it? They got this prenup, which, shows they're being cautious. But then remarried so quickly makes you think maybe there's more to it. Like, could it be public pressure or even something to do with their careers? Celebrities in Indonesia, they're held to a pretty high standard. Divorce can be seen as like a big failure.
Yeah. Their image is a huge deal over there. So maybe this whole reconciliation is a way to kind of control the story and protect their brands, give the fans what they want, a happy ending.
Exactly. Happy endings sell. Think about Anang, Hermansia, and Ajanti. Perfect blended family successful careers. Pinkan and Arya might be going for that same image.
The power couple.
Exactly.
But we can't forget Arya's saying he's all about personal growth now. Owning up to being jealous and having a big ego. Do you think that's for real or just a calculated move?
That's the question, isn't it? It's a smart move, PR-wise, for sure. Admitting your flaws, showing vulnerability. But the Indonesian audience, they're smart. They can tell if it's fake.
So only time will tell if he actually changes. This whole situation really shows how social media changes things for celebs.
Yeah, that's right.
They're under a microscope constantly.
Yeah, it's like living in a fishbowl.
Yeah.
Social media, it's blurred the lines between public and private life, especially in Indonesia. Celebs use Instagram and stuff to connect with fans, build their brand, and even, manage how people see them.
And in this case, with Pinkan and Arya, their whole reconciliation played out online. Cryptic posts, apologies, lovey-dovey stuff.
Yeah, it's like we're watching their relationship drama in real time.
Front row seats to all the ups and downs.
But that comes with a price.
Right. They're putting themselves out there to be judged.
One wrong move, one bad post in public opinion can turn on you. Remember what happened with Ariel and OAH? Those leaked videos almost ruined his career.
Oh, yeah.
Pinkan and Arya are taking a similar risk, putting it all out there.
Yeah. It's a high-stakes game. But besides all the social media stuff, we can't forget the cultural side of this. Indonesia is big on family values and religion. This reconciliation takes on a whole other meaning there.
Absolutely. Marriage in Indonesia, it's not just a piece of paper. It's tied into religious and societal expectations.
So divorce, it's seen as a failure.
Not just for the couple, but for their families, even the community.
So in a way, Pinkan and Arya getting back together, it could be seen as upholding those traditional values,
Right, yeah.
giving people hope that even a broken marriage can heal.
And they keep saying God brought them back together.
Yeah.
That reinforces that whole message of faith and forgiveness.
It's a pretty powerful message for their Indonesian fans. So they're not just reconciling as a couple, they're reconciling with their fans and Indonesian society too.
Smart strategy, whether they meant it that way or not. They're tapping into this cultural narrative of redemption and second chances.
But are they really genuine? I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about cultural pressure, social media, image management. What
Yeah.
about them as individuals?
Yeah, do they actually want to be together? Or is this all for the cameras?
That's the big question.
We can analyze what they say and do, but only they know how they truly feel.
True, but there are clues. The article mentions Pinkan still had feelings for Arya even when they were splitting up.
Oh, so there was still an emotional connection.
And Arya begging her not to block him. That could mean he really regrets messing up.
Yeah, in a culture where showing affection publicly is normal, those actions are significant.
So it seems like there's passion there, but also a lot of hurt and distrust. Can they really overcome all that and build a relationship that lasts?
It's possible, but it won't be easy. They need to figure out what went wrong the first time, especially Arya's jealousy and ego problems.
They can't just say they're back together and expect everything to be fine.
Right. They need to show real change to each other and to their fans.
And all while living under the pressure of being Indonesian celebrities.
Exactly. The spotlight's intense. Every little thing they do will be analyzed.
It's a lot to deal with. You know, it's kind of romantic, though, this whole
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. It's like proof that love can conquer all.
Or at least that's the story they're telling. But behind all the perfect pictures and carefully worded statements, the truth is probably way more complicated.
Which is what makes it so fascinating to talk about. We get to peek behind the curtain of celebrity life, where love, ambition, the desire to be happy all clash.
It reminds you that even people who seem to have it all, they still struggle with the same basic stuff we all do. Love, trust, forgiveness, finding the courage to change, it's universal.
So true. Yeah, it really is like watching a drama unfold. So many twists and turns.
And just when you think you know what's going to happen, bam, something new.
It's easy to get caught up in all the gossip. But at the end of the day, it's two people trying to make their relationship work.
Right, and even though they're celebrities, the problems they're facing, it's something a lot of couples deal with. Like rebuilding trust, figuring out who you are as a person, how to balance your own needs with the needs of the relationship.
It's relatable even if you're not famous. But of course, in their case, they're doing it with all of Indonesia watching.
Oh yeah, the pressure's on.
Which brings us to the big question. Knowing how important their image is in Indonesia, what do you think this whole reconciliation will do to their careers?
That's a tough one. If they really show that they've changed and that they're committed, it could actually help their careers. People love a good comeback story.
Especially when it involves forgiveness and second chances.
Right. It fits into that narrative that Indonesian audiences really connect with.
So it could be a win-win. They fix their relationship and their fans love them even more.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But the opposite could happen too. If things start going south, if Arya falls back into his old ways, or if there's more public drama, the fans might turn on them.
Yeah, the Indonesian audience can be pretty unforgiving.
Especially if they think a celebrity couple isn't living up to their values.
It's a risky move. It makes you wonder if it's worth all the stress.
That's true. But for celebs like Pinkan and Arya, their personal life and their public life are so intertwined.
It's all connected.
Yeah, their relationship is part of their brand, part of their story. They have to be careful how they handle it.
It's the price of fame, I guess. You're always in the spotlight, no privacy.
But it also shows how powerful human connection is. Despite all the obstacles, Pinkan and Arya want to try again, whether they succeed or not. Their story shows that we all want love, forgiveness, another shot at happiness.
It's been a wild ride talking about this with you. We've gone from breakup to makeup, talked about Indonesian culture, social media. I think our listeners have a lot to think about now.
Yeah, I hope this deep dive helped them understand Pinkan and Arya better.
Yeah.
And also how complicated celebrity life and relationships can be in Indonesia.
So to wrap things up, let's leave our listeners with this. Pinkan and Arya are trying to make their relationship work with everyone watching. Will they get their happy ending, or will the pressure be too much?
We'll have to wait and see.
It's a cliffhanger for sure.
That's what keeps us hooked on these stories. We get to watch real-life drama unfold. It's unpredictable and messy. A good reminder that life, even for celebrities, is a journey.
Well said. And that's a wrap for this deep dive. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time for another fascinating story.